Ms. Joshi now, CMD at Shipping Corporation of India. She's now with us. Ma'am, a couple of things. Let's first start with the quarter. Of course, you are one of the industry that, may have got impacted by the pandemic even in the second quarter or a continued impact. Can you just tell us that considering this quarter and the sort of situation it was, how are things and have you reached the pre-COVID levels now?
I'd like to straight away jump into the quarter performance. The pandemic has impacted. The impact of the pandemic is now visible in the results of the second quarter. However, we are not going to reach pre-COVID levels still because, as we know, the impact on the EU, the second wave has started, and the lockdown which has been declared in the second wave is going to affect the shipping towards the west. However, in terms of the bulk, we see ourselves closing in at the pre-COVID levels. But I don't think this is anything to do with the latent demand coming in. This is just an impact of the Chinese economy substantially trying to revive their economy, increasing their industrial and manufacturing activities. We see there has been a substantial increase of about 12% in demand in the iron ore in the last, in the month of July itself, which is substantially high. And consequently, the steel output in China is seen to be tremendous. In fact, there is a substantial increase, which is at output levels of 62%. Whereas in the same period in 2019, it was at 54%. So you already see an increase in the steel output in China by 8%, which is dramatically different from the scene in the EU, where the German automobile industry impact and consequently the demand in steel in the EU is substantially low. But as I always maintain that the dry bulk segment, China drives the demand. And consequently, we see a jump in the market indices with respect to the BDI movement in the bulk segment, and which is obviously visible in the performance of the company during the quarter, where you see that the bulk segment has totally turned around from a loss in the previous year. They are already in positive or double-digit positive in the current quarter. That was on the bulk segment. The tanker segment has definitely crashed from the previous quarter levels. And if we see the market indices, they are at an all-time low. They have come down to double-digit world scales from a triple-digit in the previous quarter. I can share the exact market indices if you would so desire. The liner segment has been more
right, ma'am. Ma'am, right. Ma'am, could you also just tell us that now with commodity prices going up, commodity forming the bulk of the trade globally, probably there is demand. How are you seeing that situation now?
See, commodity prices may be going up, but like I said, the westbound impact is tremendous. And on the commodity, which is the liner trade, there is a substantial impact. We do not see any improvements on that front. And considering the second wave, I don't see there is going to be much change in the coming 2 quarters. The only upside that we see is only in the manufacturing and in the industrial activity, which is primarily, like I said, on the bulk trade side.
Okay. Ms. Joshi, let's talk about the outlook for the tanker segment as well. In light of the way crude oil prices as well have been gyrating quite wildly of late, what's your sense?
My sense is that normally every year we see that the winter months the energy demand does pick up, but considering this is going to get completely offset by the pandemic. So this is not going to be a natural winter, because if the second wave of the pandemic continues, the energy demand would be low except for the heating in the western side, which may be there. But however, we do not consider a substantial increase on the tanker segment in the next 2 quarters. And we consider that the levels which are there currently in the tanker market is likely to prevail in the next 2 quarters. We do not see any substantial change in the tanker outlook. More so because currently there are a lot of tankers which are blocked at ports for discharge simply because of the lack of demand, as well as traders wanting to probably wait and see for the crude prices going up. So there is a lot of mismatch on the demand and supply front as well, and we do not see much change in the tanker outlook.
All right, fair enough. And what is the outlook on the sale of your assets and your overall capex?
On the capex, considering that the company's tonnage has successively year-on-year basis been going down, we do have plans for capex for the year. However, at the same time, we are all very well aware that the disinvestment process has also been initiated, and we are in the process of taking that forward. So there is simultaneously going to be also the roadshows going on with the prospective buyers, and the company is currently going the core assets which constitute the 59 vessels that the company has, that is going to be part of the disinvestment, and the non-core assets are going to be handled separately, and the company has already floated an expression of interest to engage with a consultant who will be able to guide us with respect to the disposal and demerger or sale or whatever will be the best way for the value to the shareholders in respect of the non-core assets.
Thank you so much, Ms. Joshi, for joining in and giving us a perspective as to what the outlook is for Shipping Corporation, your earnings, as well as your general business outlook on the tanker business. On that note, let's take a short break with news that there is a mild amount of recovery as we're just about breaking into the green for the markets, 12,653. Take a short break, be right back with more.